thought.
You said you
can
could
still.
have.
You still can.
I realized I wanted you to be like how we usually
Can I see your
record,
mirror?
like
Yeah,
we
it's
come
this
from
one.
places and we have. I just boxed and I have very little makeup on.
Why are you
I have a
apologizing to them
mustache.
and not apologizing to me?
No, nobody would
Brown
want to
show.
see
I was
that.
looking right at you as I was saying all of this.
Oh.
Look at this. You
I
can
thought
see
you were
the
just
shadow
telling
of my
Calise.
mustache because I'm growing it out to get it off.
They
Mine's
say,
too.
they
I was
say,
going
The garage
today.
phase is always
Let me see
hard.
if I
I
can
was
put
going
some.
today to
they
get
say
mine.
beautiful women are very hairy.
Who says that?
I don't know.
Her exes.
When I was a kid,
Her
they used to say that to
ex-boyfriends.
me all the time.
Is this taping yet?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you can do this. We're recording. But you know what?
I said too
this,
much.
This is the real thing. This is
Oh, that was almost the tea. Don't spill the tea.
You guys,
Well, spill the tea.
I mean,
Happy
spill the
New
tea in a
Year!
different way.
Metaphorically.
you guys, I'm being calm about this.
What the heck?
This is for
We're not gonna play this
our
part.
Patreon friends. It's already there. So
It's on Patreon right
Oh,
now.
so this is live.
no, it's not live.
Oh, thank God.
But it will be only for them, so that they feel like they're in the room with us when we record.
when
That's
you
right,
said it was
this is a
already
niche
there,
audience.
though.
Yeah, I'm not gonna edit it.
Basically,
Basically, I'm not doing
But that's
that.
not that true.
But this is what's gonna happen.
We
is
can edit this.
I'm not editing it. That's the whole point of it. Is so they feel they're in the room, and the Patreon friends. Really?
I'm sorry. This is the day you decided to do Patreon. I'm anxious today.
You're 10 minutes late.
Is it,
And that made me very stressed.
So what happened?
Because I just gave you a speech about
Well,
how I wouldn't be late.
I know. Let's talk. What happened?
What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
I am so sad.
Why?
I don't know. It's,
As she
it's
smiles.
chemical.
It's chemical.
Yeah. It's like what? My period tracker says it's 8 days before my period, and I have the PMDD, guys. The
8 days? So
post-menstrual.
I
the PMS.
definitely have it, but 8 days.
No, mine started 3 days ago.
Her pee is
So, the last 3 days I've been feeling off. For me, it's like 12 days out of the month. It's bad.
Really?
Sorry.
Yeah.
You know what? Not
Did
only do
exercise
you guys
help
look
you?
alike, you have similar personalities.
Yeah, maybe.
yeah.
Yeah, we're very similar. We found that out.
Well, I think we have similar families.
We have similar mom.
Similar mom traits.
Oh, that's right. We talked about that.
No, we
Calise
didn't.
and I did. Yes,
Oh, yeah, we did. I'm willing to, like, stab her in her face, not even her back.
Yeah, we did.
Stab me in the face. Oh my God.
She's very
Gives you
anxious.
time. Gives you time.
You're like comforting me, well, not in the back though, just in your eye.
Gives you time to defend yourself. It's
Well,
honest.
I think it's kind of better if you see it coming.
It's honest.
In my fucking eye? No, it's not better.
I think it's all
Calise
better.
scares me sometimes.
That is not true. You're never scared by
Calise
me.
has never sat this. You're right.
I'm pure crazy. Like crazy, like in a pure, like gentle way.
I mean, authentic. You're being your authentic.
And you know what?
crazy
And you know
self.
what? Not crazy anymore, right? That's what they said to me. The movement.
You are so beautiful to me. She's about to say something really evil. Again,
She's
she's
worse
like,
than
"Any
stabbing you in the
opportunity
face." To try to sing.
Happy New Year, though, to you guys, because I haven't seen
Happy New Year.
Abby or Calise since
Happy
the
New Year, Happy New Year,
and
Happy New Year.
I've been missing you, Calise. Thank you, though, for adding
Really?
No, absolutely not.
You know, she'll send me an email like, hey, can you make it next Monday? And then the next day I'll be like, yes, I'd love to. She's like, sorry, we're booked.
Not true. Not true. You got back to me 3 days later, so I booked it. I
Hey,
can't wait.
I'm here every Monday, unless I say,
Yeah, well,
Differently. No, that's not true.
I book it when I have, I don't have a lot of time. So when people say they're in town, I book them.
okay.
But
I
I
know
do
it's not
miss you.
personal.
I
Okay,
really
good.
do miss you. Yeah. How was everything since it's been a while?
I didn't like the break. I shouldn't,
It
I
has
shouldn't
started.
ever have a break.
I start like this so that you feel comfortable.
Ease
We've never
me
done
into
like
it.
this. Have you?
Yes.
How long have you been doing the video?
It's been since the beginning. Oh,
People
you
saw
mean
you
overall?
sashay in. People saw you sashay.
No,
Oh, dang,
no,
they saw
yeah,
me
no.
put on
I
my
mean,
makeup
like,
and everything.
first episode.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So we did Facebook Live with when that day you couldn't make it. You had the kitchen thing. So we had Pat and Terry and me, and we Facebook Lived it and we teased.
Was it fun?
You didn't get to see it?
No.
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
So you know how to do it next time.
Is there a difference between what we're
No.
doing now?
I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah, you are.
We got closer. We had to sit very close to each other.
Oh,
That's the
okay.
only difference.
Yeah. So.
So
'Cause
just
it was
imagine yourself being a foot closer to Marina right now.
How was Kwanzaa Crawl?
I loved it. I had a great time.
Did you
Oh,
not
nice.
see? Did you not sense any bitterness in my voice?
Did you not get invited to it? I was invited to
I
it.
feel like everybody's invited.
You didn't get
I was
invited
told
to
I had to
it?
go.
What is this?
That's so
It's
funny.
Kwanzaa. It's an event.
I feel like everybody's invited.
So-
Everybody
so-
get invited.
So
Who invited you?
Yamanika asked me if I
I'll
wanted
put
a
the pieces
ticket.
together.
There you go.
Tickets are involved.
Did Abby? Did you get invited?
I didn't hear about it. And what is it called? Kwanzaa
It's
for
called.
all?
It's called.
It just has now become inclusive.
Welcome to Friends.
Oh my gosh.
For all. Kwanzaa
That's
for
what I
all.
celebrate.
Kwanzaa for all.
I love it.
What did you say?
Well, no, yeah, Yamanika just sent me. I think Yamanika only works on the uptown side of things because she's, we're all living like in the same area, so it was just easier, and it was in Harlem, so it was the Harlem focused Kwanzaa Crawl, where there's a Brooklyn
Kwanzaa Crawl.
focused Kwanzaa Crawl, and I think they wanted Harlem people who live in Harlem, and Zainab happened to be in town, and she's grown up in Harlem.
Nice.
I was at Yamanika's house a week before that. I think that's why I wasn't invited to the ticket party.
I don't think that was smart.
We enjoyed you so much. I said that like me and Yamanika was a couple.
Yeah,
It was,
yeah.
And your
it was-
voice
it was
got
so
high.
funny. It was so fun. What are you talking about?
Where do you crawl from, place to place?
But
Is it house to house
But-
or is it
It's-
venue to venue?
It's venue to venue. We went to bar, and that's the crawl
was fun.
part. And it
Cool.
was fun.
Yeah, nice.
You didn't drink either, did you?
I don't drink, so I can't.
Yeah, so
So
I
that
was.
was my first thing. I thought maybe because I don't drink, I wasn't invited. But
Maybe
Marina
that's-
doesn't drink.
Yeah, but I live in Harlem.
She's invited me before. I've gone to Kwanzaa.
You gotta
Crawl
live.
with
I
her.
think it's the Harlem.
Yeah, but you went to the Brooklyn one.
That's true.
Oh, you went to the Brooklyn one?
Yeah, I'm a caller.
I remember that
This is a
because
beef.
y'all got so messed up. That
Ranting
Brooklyn
and
one.
raving.
That was the first one.
We have a new segment on the show. It's Air Your Beef.
I remember that because y'all got so messed up.
Yeah, we had fun.
Yeah.
But I will say it was surprisingly.
So much fun.
I
Especially
had no
Gin
idea.
Fizz.
What'd you say?
Gin Fizz, the second bar we went to.
Oh,
That
the
was-
one where you
that-
were on the stage dancing the whole time.
Absolutely, that DJ was phenomenal.
Yeah, Pat just left us, and I
And
was
there
like,
were-
"Where's Pat?"
You go where the beat takes you.
And I just see her like on the stage
the whole time.
the whole time, just feeling the music, having a
Wow.
great time. It was fun.
Mhm.
Nice.
Because there's tell them, set it up. How does Kwanzaa Crawl, like in Harlem, how does it start? Because I didn't go to the beginning. I was coming in from Chicago,
Mhm.
and then I met you guys. But it starts at a location, right?
So we started at I think it's called what's their name?
museum or something?
Harriet Tubman Public School. We were there, and so everybody gathers there. There's about 800 people, if what I found out, that were participating in Harlem. They had 3,500 in Brooklyn. This is Carrie Caudette and her sister's idea, and so we all gathered there. You got all your tickets and made sure that you had arm bracelets or whatever you got with your group. Each group were probably about 8 people in each group or something like that, and they had been led by a leader of a group leader. And then they also went over the Kwanzaa and what's it about, and we talked about that. And then we sang Lift Every Voice and Sing.
Oh, beautiful.
Which Yamanika didn't know the words to.
She knew the first.
It's never a bad time to learn.
They went through I didn't know there was that many damn
Versions of that
versions.
song?
Yeah.
Verses.
It's like verses, like 6 verses. I went to a black school, so I know the first 2. Come on. But anyway, and so after that, we left with our group, and then each group goes to a different bar. And then, then after a certain amount of time, I think it was an hour and a half, you leave that bar, and then you go to another bar, and then you end up going to all the bars. I think we had 6 to go to. but I was out after.
Oh yeah, I left after you left.
Yeah.
Because you tapped out before.
Yeah.
Usually I'm the one that leaves early.
No, I had already told her that I was leaving at a certain time.
When did it start?
It started, I think we went to our first bar about 3.
And then
PM?
what time did you leave?
I left at 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no,
So yeah,
Nice.
but we had to
Well,
be
happy
there
hour.
at the high school probably about 1:30 or something.
Yeah, and I just met them out, and it was just nice seeing that many people in Harlem, Black, actually enjoying themselves in
Yeah,
different
we actually
locations,
had fun.
and making these businesses, like, do well.
Yeah.
Right, and we're
It's
supporting
nice.
black business. I needed to say that. I don't think I've said that. So we're
It's a black bar crawl. It's very nice.
That
Very
one
fun.
was
It's like
was it?
SantaCon
Mm-hmm.
without Santa suits.
And it was because I thought we would all do it together, but I didn't know there were different groups.
Yeah.
And someone stole our board. This
Our-
girl
our
snatched
flag.
because it became competitive, like group.
That was so funny.
What was our group number?
I don't remember.
2C or something like that.
Yeah.
And some woman snatched it from Yamanika and ran off
Whoa.
with it.
Why?
They were like, "No, our
Points?
group is better." It was funny. It was
Actually, they snatched
So
it
they
from
call
me.
that friendly competition.
They snatched it from me, and then I got it back, and then Yamanika took it from me. I wish somebody would. I wish somebody would. I was too late. They already did.
And then it did feel good, like just being in that group and like marching down the street. It was
And people were just looking up, like, look at all these black people. What are they doing? What is this about?
Right.
We're
What's
doing,
the occasion?
We did these call response chants while we're going to the different bars.
You
So,
scared many a gentrified apartment building.
I'm sure.
yeah, there were a couple
I'm
looking
sure.
like, oh no, because
Like, what's happening?
Yamanika did bring up.
They're like, who died
gentrification.
now?
Like,
And they're marching about it.
Yeah.
It's
Will
so
this be
nice,
ours?
right? That this is just a celebration, just for the fact, just a positive, supportive celebration. It's not a
Yeah.
tragedy.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's no, except for the fact that we were all women and seeking men. That was the only part of it.
It was all women. I
It was
didn't know
more
that.
women. Remember,
It was a lot of
More.
women, Mammy. That didn't have a problem.
no, 'cause Pat. I looked at Pat. I said, "It's a lot of women here." Pat was like, "Yeah, I like this." And I was like,
I like that.
She
That's-
rubbed her hands together.
"That's the thing I would say is next year we gotta try to get more men to come with us in this effort." It was just, it's always been black women
I'm sure
kind
they
of
will.
leading the charge. I think men need to hear us, be
Mm-hmm.
with us when we support these black-owned businesses.
That's right.
Because I was wondering why that was. I don't know the answer to it. I don't know.
It could be a demographic thing. Like Carrie Cadet might really attract stronger, black women.
Mm-hmm.
That's
That
just
could
maybe just who she's attracting to this.
Yeah.
It is a nice get together.
Yeah.
And it's so many.
And I don't know
people.
if that is just endemic of Harlem, because they had 3,500 people in Brooklyn, so they
Wow.
might have had way more men. In terms of
3,500
percentages.
people in Brooklyn. That is a success.
I
That's
don't
what I told her. I
wanna-
was like, yeah, girl.
I
That
don't want
needs
full
to expand.
focus, but I attended a coffee crawl in Brooklyn. And out of
You
8
crazy
coffee
girl,
shops,
you.
I tapped out at 3. That's
Coffee
too much caffeine.
for all?
Coffee for all.
Caffeine for all.
Whatever, caffeine
Only
is for
3
everybody.
coffees? You're a lightweight.
Well, it was like little Dixie cups too. It's just over the course of time, you just get your fix. Anyway, it was
I
in
can do
Brooklyn.
espresso for all.
Mm-hmm.
Espresso crawl.
Espresso
Has it
crawl for all.
expanded out of New York City yet? Or
No, but I'm
Crawls?
sure this crawl will take over, because
I love this idea.
3,500, and then she had 800 in Harlem. So
It's very impressive.
it's
Yeah, very
very
impressive.
impressive.
By
I
next
just
year,
like that it's all women. I think
she's
that's
gonna have
really
a partnership. She's gonna have promotion. It's gonna be.
Cool. Well, hopefully that's the
Big.
plan. She thinks big. She and her sister think big.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're good.
They've been
They're very
businesswomen
good.
since their 20s, early 20s.
Yeah.
Speaking of Africa, one of the articles actually that my young Kathleen intern put in about the Coming to America is on. Eddie Murphy is on board for Coming to America, a 1988
no.
sequel. The film will focus on Prince Akeem, prince of fictional African country who returns to America upon discovering that he has a child there.
Oh, so he's in it. You're not just gonna.
How
I
did
thought
he
was
not
gonna
know
direct
about
it.
his child? I don't know. I really love Coming to America. I would hate to see it. It's memory tarnished. Are you excited
Oh, you
for
mean
it?
she put this in?
Just
I
by
have
being
no
cheesy
idea.
or whatever it is.
I'm
Updating it
excited
for
for it.
2018. Even the one from the 80s, it's got misogyny in it. It's got some tones, some themes,
Yeah.
tropes. that we wouldn't really approve of in this day and age. So if they try to repeat those, it's going to be weird.
I'm excited for it because the director directed Hustle and Flow and Black Snake Moan.
Okay.
And
I
those
like Black
tones,
Snake Moan.
exactly, the tone in those are very like surreal and raw.
Mhm.
And so if he puts some of that on this, it might be very interesting.
Right, which
And
is what
they're
made
gonna
the
be
original
aware. I mean, come on, Eddie Murphy's not in anything. He's gonna be aware that he, look at what happened to Kevin Hart. He's gonna be aware that there's certain jokes that can't be had.
I disagree with that though, because I feel like because of what's going on, people still make that mistake. It was in I think Chappelle did it when he came back. He had pushback because I think he had some trans comments, and then it's been a lot of
like growing pains.
Damon Wayans, when he did his thing, he had some things. So I think you kind of stuck with a mindset of certain things, and you don't know how it's going to come out until you start saying it until the
Was it Damon or Marlon? It was
Damon.
Marlon, right?
No, it was
oh,
Damon.
because he had one too. I think in conjunction with this successful like Netflix film that I thought was a little. It opened up with like. I know, it was just like why am I even putting this out there? You already having a point.
Yeah.
But it was about, I don't care if you're gay or straight, just, this is really truncated, but just, keep it to yourself. It was like one of those kind of things.
Really?
Followed by homophobic style
Keep it to
act out.
yourself.
Yeah, it was
How
like,
do I date?
maybe, am I confusing him with D.L. Hughley? Somebody had a special where they're like, they were trying to sound open-minded by being like, I think you're great if you're this or if you're that.
It
I'm
could've
just
been
saying
DL.
for me,
Yeah,
it might have
this is
been
why I
DL.
was
Because DL has a joke similar to, I'm only saying that because DL had a joke about, he was talking about, I saw him at Caroline's, he was talking about his nephew was gay or whatever, and he said something, I love you, whatever, and then he said something homophobic.
Right.
So, and
Right, which is, that's supposed to be funny, but it was, for a while that was considered by his general audience at the time funny. Now the audiences have changed or more visible. It's just weird. I'm not going to say it's
the
funny.
audience is like, why
to
can't
someone
you accept
else?
your nephew?
Yeah, it just becomes, it's weird, but it becomes, what used to be funny becomes just sounding angry or sounding bigoted or something.
But the difference between what you guys are talking about with these comedians is a solo act that they put a lot of like road work into versus an ensemble movie written by somebody else
Yeah, you
and
gotta.
directed by somebody else and weighed in by execs.
Right.
Yeah,
So
but
there's a lot
haven't
more
we seen that
safety.
time and time again?
No,
Keep Hope
in
alive.
movies?
No,
What
in
last
movie.
movie messed up.
The last movie messed up.
That messed up.
In that way.
Oh, with homophobia?
I think
No,
it did
anything, just anything.
I just
Up
didn't
to
care
date.
for the
The
Mary
Green Book?
Poppins reboot.
The Green Book is
Okay, the
interesting.
Green Book.
I think that's just a genre that gets to go out of style now. Finally.
Maybe.
But I mean, but there's Green Book type shows that weren't called out as far as I was concerned. I couldn't watch The Help. I couldn't get through it, and I know they called that one out.
On Twitter.
But even even the good ones have a little
Mary
bit of that Green.
Poppins?
I didn't
That's
see
what I'm
that
talking
yet.
about. Mary
Oh,
Poppins
no.
was annoying to me because
I-
they just tried to redo the stuff that's been done.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
watched
it. Was
it.
innovative for
Oh,
the
but there's no
time.
racism in it.
Well, hold on. I watched it I watched it yesterday while working on my taxes, so I really wasn't.
Is it tax season?
Is
Is it
just
out in the
couldn't
theaters?
connect to it. It's a screen. You get screeners.
Oh, right.
So I watched it and I was like, this seems very tone deaf.
Mm-hmm.
Except for they have the one black man who's like in it, but you
I
can
didn't
see
even
how they
finish the
place.
film.
You can see how they strategically place black people in the movie as like.
I
see,
don't
look.
remember
Oh,
seeing
you
any,
got one.
and they weren't in the principal characters. Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, I see what they're not clever.
that's not what it
man.
is. Yeah, that's not diversity.
But it's, little rich white kids worrying about losing their very expensive home in England just seems so tone deaf. I was like, I don't understand. And they're like, Mary Poppins. They kept promoting it like it's this great movie, and I was watching. I was like, it just seems so old. I'm not connecting with this at all.
I
on
didn't
any
connect
level.
with it either. I was disappointed because I like the people involved. I like the idea of it, but it didn't rekindle the magic for me.
No. And did they ever do? I was doing my taxes, so I missed on. They never did A Spoonful of Sugar, did they?
No, they didn't repeat any songs from the
Oh, they
original film.
wouldn't.
They just did songs that sounded like them.
They
that were
should have
updated.
I was really waiting for A Spoonful of Sugar.
Helps the medicine.
Helps
go
the
down.
medicine
I
go
knew
down.
it was coming. Oh.
Medicine go
You said she looked for any
down.
opportunity.
Any opportunity.
Medicine go down in the most delightful way. So Rockstar criticizes millennials. It was a fake story, but it sounds very real to me. But maybe it was. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson claimed the Daily Star fabricated a front-page story in which a film star appeared to criticize millennials as snowflakes. They quoted the actor as allegedly saying that Generation Snowflake, or whatever you want to call them,
Generation Snowflake.
so rude, or whatever you want to call them, are actually putting us backwards. If you're not agreeing with them, then they are offended. And that is not what so many great men and women fought for. And in an Instagram video, Dwayne Johnson said that is 100% fabricated, and he would never insult a group of people.
It doesn't sound like something he would say.
Right.
And they would have pictures of him coming to the office. Everybody would want to take pictures. Interns would take pictures. There would be proof he was there. He said he wasn't even there. So I believe him. Okay. This is the kind of guy who changed Rampage, changed the script. Have you guys seen it? I don't want to spoil it for you.
I don't know.
Does it matter?
There's a surprise ending?
Doesn't matter.
Okay,
Can you
doesn't
leave the
matter.
surprise out? All right, go
Change
for it.
the ending. Spoiler.
Okay.
Alright, skip this part.
Sorry,
so that the big white gorilla that he hangs out with doesn't die. Because he wanted his audience to walk away feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
This is not something that this man would say.
Right. He's
Right.
not controversial that way.
Yeah.
I thought they might have. I was shocked to hear that it's fabricated because
like millennials.
maybe. But I was gonna
That'd be
say
funny
I'm
if I got
surprised
out.
that a publication could do this, but then it's like Daily Mail or something, so it's kind of a gossip rag. And then I thought maybe they're playing off the idea that he was a former wrestler who used to trash talk. Or is a wrestler, but the
Right.
whole thing about 90s wrestling was trash talking, and all wrestling. And so, yeah, I thought maybe they were just kind of imagining what might The Rock say. He would probably, have no patience for millennials.
There are people who have these views, especially as we were talking about, like, homophobia and who's, like, just keep it inside. Like, there is that energy that's happening right now where people are starting to push back at, I guess, what snowflakes or sensitive millennials.
The only time I heard it was the Louis C.K. tape.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, where he flat out was like, Parkland, survivors are whiny.
Yeah.
That was the theme.
Oh, I don't have to listen to you just because you got shot.
Mm-hmm. Your friends got shot.
Friends got shot. Wow.
I mean,
It was hilarious.
I'm not even gonna
It's
explain what he was trying to do.
It's
I
a
just
joke.
think
It's a joke. I think he was trying to make a joke. Me personally, I think we shouldn't be looking at his comedy ever. That's not fair. I think he's a selfish motherfucker for keeping, like, he's like, I'm not going to take this break. And he's making everybody put the spotlight on how comedy works versus what his actions were off stage. Mm-hmm. The way he tells a joke is fucking funny and effective, and it's a hilarious bit. But now that he's got people watching him saying, you didn't apologize, you didn't like pay us back, and we don't want to hear from you right now, he's putting the spotlight on how comedy looks. Now people are just breaking down comedy.
Well, to that point, I would say, yeah, we're evaluating it before it's finished, but I don't think what he said was funny. I think that's people were saying, we don't care for this choice in subject matter. We don't care for that twist.
Wasn't he working on the bit?
It was like, yeah, if you're working it out, then I don't think it can be rated like
this bit was
as a
being
joke.
worked out. So, because to me...
Did you see it? I didn't see it.
No, I heard it.
Okay.
But to me, it's suspension of disbelief.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that he thinks somebody pushed their fat friend in front. I think he's picking the right elements out of the story to make a funny joke happen.
Sure, structurally it works as a joke, but it's also like a comedian can talk about anything under the sun. So people wanted to psychoanalyze him and be like, why choose that though? Did you ever think about?
Because that's what comedians of his generation did. They talked about the hot moments and the exact thing that's going on. And
right.
the edginess of it.
People aren't going there.
I think it's the underlying theme. The underlying theme is, why you, not somebody else? It isn't necessarily
Why
also...
you, not somebody else? Is that what you thought the thing was?
I thought the underlying theme was, people are dying, the world's a horrible place, why all of a sudden you have to listen to you specifically? As, like all of a sudden we have to respect children because another child died. It's his perspective. I don't agree with that, but I thought the way that he put it together was funny.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it should be. He's been doing comedy long enough. It's just
I
I
agree
think
with
people
you
are
about
sensitive
that.
to him.
No, I think definitely people are got a spotlight on him because he hasn't apologized. He never took a break from it. He's never kind of helped out.
Well, he did put out a statement, but it wasn't good enough.
even his statement is like, I'm gonna sit back and listen.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. Did you? You know, and so I for that point too. But I also think it's just that idea too is like because I think his point was like, you know, you're a child, you haven't grown, you haven't lived anything. But I think a lived life is being in a fucking high school and getting shot and your friends getting killed. That is a lived experience beyond a lot of people's experience. And to say, shut up, you're not being an activist, you should be drunk like I was when I was 23. That's exactly what he's saying.
I think he was still not finished with the joke.
I don't, and I agree. This is what I'm saying to you. I
Right.
agree that it's not finished or whatever, but and then his finished work could be something totally different, or even nuanced to the point that you understand that he's, you know, he's being, you know, he's not being literal.
Mm-hmm. But
you
still don't need to go through that painful process.
It's just that I feel so many like older comics are still stuck in that. Like, shut up, don't talk to me, kids. Because I'm a grown man and I've done things and whatever. And I feel like
they're picking apart everything. Have you seen
and
on
I
page
disagree
6,
with it, yeah.
where
I do disagree with that whole process.
They're picking apart every, like, they found an email that he wrote. I didn't put this in. I was
STD?
with the STD, with the woman who, like, is in trouble for not paying her employees. She had, like, a business and she was, like, fraud, and she's going to, I think she went to jail or is about to go to jail. And, like, apparently they have email exchanges where she claims he gave her an STD, and in his and they're sharing that email. I don't know how they got this email exchange, but I will say this: it is funny to see how they strategically put Louis' picture next to her, because Louis like, and then she's like, and he's like, and then his response, because
it's very much like that picture.
It sounds
it's
callous.
he says, look, I mean, it's like, who's not clean? And who's clean in these days anyway? I mean, in the future, you're going to have a glass vagina, and I'm going to have a glass penis.
I didn't tell you I was clean.
And in all fairness, I'm laughing at this email, and I'm going, so what's your point in putting this out? Is it to remind us that he's just
a selfish motherfucker?
And funny, though. I mean, a glass penis and a glass and
a digital vagina.
You can hear the tone. I mean, that's the thing about it. Also, you don't know the tone, but I can hear his jokingly tone in it. Where he's like, I mean, it's blood. You know, we're sharing blood. Come on. It was a good night, though. We had a great night.
We're sharing fluids, I think.
Yeah. By the way, and I will say, I have to say this: in no way are we defending Louis C.K. by making.
I'm defending comedy.
But let me just say this.
Fuck Louis C.K.
Can I just get this out clean?
You're going to get an STD.
Let me just get this out very clean. And the reason I say this is because of Janine Garofalo incident, where she's having a conversation on a podcast, and then the title is Janine Garofalo defends Louis C.K. And I find this still a way of attacking women instead of focusing on the man. Mm-hmm. Stop trying to bring people down, because you know what? I find that people are using Louis to bring their other comics down. Mm-hmm. Like, it's out of jealousy, or it's out of some type of way of like, you know what? Stop trying to bring people down. People are having conversations. There's nuances to the conversation. They should be allowed to have it. Stop making it a blanket statement that she just defended Louis. Mm-hmm. You know, someone tried to do that with me recently, and I was like, where the fuck did that come from? All I was saying was, Louis was a guy who validated me at a time when no one else was, and I'm nowhere near, you know, where I want to be in my career. So when you're struggling as a comic and you have someone saying to you that has a position of power, this girl is funny, look at her. Mm-hmm. That's a moment for me, and I can't say honestly that didn't give me pause when all these things were happening. It did give me pause. That's it. I'm not defending Louis.
Yeah, it's not mutually exclusive that he's doing maybe bad things along with good things. Like, why don't people understand that? They're like saying, let's take away Louis' millions. Let's take away his opportunities he's going to get. Let's take away his career. And also, you don't get to feel good that he liked you. You stupid.
Yes.
It's like, no, that's canceled.
But they're curious. They're like, weren't you a friend of Louis? How do you feel? Stop it!
Ew, yeah.
Stop trying to bring down the people around him and focus back on the motherfucker that did this shit.
Yeah.
And it's always women. It's always right back at the woman.
Mm-hmm.
CBS, the guy that comes down, what do?
That's
They focus
movies.
on his wife. Why didn't she say anything? No. Keep the focus back on the man.
Oh, yeah.
That's just
Why didn't she say anything?
it's crazy how
Right, like she's responsible for his behavior.
A lot of I don't even think that when they first started out, he wasn't married to her.
right. So
he married.
speaking of women, and I do want to focus on this because I think it's important. Centoya Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Am I saying her name right? Is it Centoya?
I haven't heard it said out loud, but it looked like that.
Centoya. Tennessee Governor Bill Haslam grants executive clemency to Centoya Brown. 16-year-old Centoya Brown was convicted for murdering a man who she feared would kill her after he took her home for sex. She petitioned to the governor last month and was worried her plea would not be heard, but the governor of Tennessee, Bill Haslam, obliged. She will be released on parole in August of 2019, and she will be supervised until 2029, until her sentence is over. Without the parole, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Without the governor's parole, Brown would have been in prison until 2015. So a judge sentenced her to 51 years in life in prison, making her eligible for parole originally when she was 69, which is the point.
Right, this 15 years has gone by, right?
Yeah, she's
She
like
had to do 15
32.
years of time so far,
She's like 31, 32.
which I think is a crime and a tragedy.
I mean, and it's important that this comes out, obviously, after the R. Kelly, Surviving R. Kelly documentary, that we remind people how they look at young black women in these situations.
Yeah.
So, like, this is a situation where I remember this story coming out. I forget which celebrity got behind it. Maybe it was Kim Kardashian.
Kim Kardashian and
Right, because we
Rihanna.
spoke about this before, yes. And I had all of those sad feelings, like this poor girl, and what was she, like, she was hustled into this thing, and she was kidnapped into being a sex slave or whatever, and now she has to do this, and she had to defend herself. And I was thinking about, all that stuff, and I had all these sad feelings towards this girl. And right now, I'm having an inappropriate thought about her because things have changed for her. And that's the thing that I hate about the whole Louis C.K. controversy is, as comedians, we say the inappropriate thing. So he might have been watching the news and saw a Parkland kid talking and been like, ugh, and then just been like, that's kind of funny, and decided to make a joke about it, just because why not, right? He's not sitting here trying to be a responsible entity. So while you're talking about this girl getting out, all I'm thinking about is Instagram right now and how she could go on Instagram and do makeovers for herself and blow up, and she's got such a better story than me. Like, her life story now.
well, that's your comic twist, yeah.
That she's going to get to, like, if she started a podcast, I still haven't even started, if this bitch started a podcast, she would be the hottest. Everybody would want to listen to her, how she got her GED in jail and everything. I see you guys taking a sip of your, I'm going to take a sip of my fucking water too. Right.
You're saying we all
I will not go down.
We're
I will not go down on this shit.
This is how you don't say something.
All I have are serious motherly responses to her reaction, and it's not gonna be funny, so I'm just being quiet.
No, of course, I have a real. No, in
reality.
reality. Oh no, that's sweet.
I
Okay,
mean,
so you
that's
can say
what I'm
that.
thinking.
In reality, I connect to her as a human being. One-on-one, or just who she is. In theory, I go that this is a fucked up life that she had to live, and how many are in jail still and how many women are abused and have to go to jail for fighting back.
But
Right?
in a way, she's won the lottery because now she's got
Now-
instant spotlight.
Yeah, we're all here right
I
now,
get
and
that,
she's gonna have such a better life than me. She's
That's
gonna
what-
do so good.
But I think
Mark my words, this bitch is gonna have the hottest podcast.
But part of your perspective on that has everything to do with you. And so that's why it makes comedy interesting, is because we get all these things filtered out from your informed experience.
Mhm.
So because of your life, the way what you lived and whatever, and the way you think about her is a perspective that you have, and that's very funny. It's extremely funny because I hadn't even thought about it like that. But that makes you the comic that you are. and there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
So, but I also want to say, with Louis, I think people also seen behind the curtain that perspective. We thought he was like, no, he's with us, but he's really a fucking selfish asshole. And so that's what
Oh my God, you guys, I get it.
The comic is telling their truth.
I finally get it.
Yeah, so
He's
that's
an unreliable narrator.
Yes.
Oh, there
We
you
feel
go.
betrayed.
That should be the next special that he has.
Unreliable
Unreliable narrator.
But is Calise gonna get the credit?
No.
Yes.
Maybe I'll get
We
to
are
see
not
his
defending
penis.
Louis once again.
We're not.
That's the
We're
name
just
of this episode.
helping him get his career back.
I do not feel comfortable. I gotta quit, man. Because the thing is like, you know, they talk about, you know, they're like, weren't you okay with him going on stage? And I was like, I have a reaction to preventing anyone who wants to get their demons out. I have a reaction to that. I feel like people who are fucked up or who are assholes or who have dysfunctions need to get it out. And if they don't get it out, I don't know what's going to happen to them. As the same thing I had with the ice skating story.
Tanya
Harding when I watched the movie and they told her she could never skate again. That was painful.
Yeah.
But I do have a reaction to someone who just shows up and holds. I do feel like the audience is being held hostage in a sense.
They should get to make an informed choice of whether they want to see
I have
him.
a problem with that. I absolutely don't want to follow him, you know, because you put me in a situation.
I feel like right after it happened, and maybe even on the podcast I did with you, I think Gina was on the show as well, it was just kind of this given, like, of course he'll be back. But I don't think people expected it that soon. And even for me to hear those words, it was too soon. I was like, why are we all jumping to, of course he'll be back? Is that because we, as his fans or former fans, want to see him rise above the ashes? I don't know. But
you just want to see the story.
Maybe. But I was just like, does he need to be? And it's not because I think I'm here to punish people. But I feel like you said, bring the focus back on the person that did the crime. They made this choice to themselves. It's like Cosby Show. We can't watch Cosby on Netflix anymore. And we're mad at Netflix for taking it away from us. It's like, be mad at him for taking it away from the world, you know?
Yeah, and I think there is, like with the Kevin Hart apology, there, you know, as you know, his apology for me just, it's getting ridiculous at this point. I mean, he does sound disingenuous.
He's on a non-apology tour.
He's on because when he's on Stephen Colbert, he's done. It's like, let it go. You know, I feel like everyone needs to let go of expecting this man to represent them and to apologize. Just fucking leave him alone, you know? But it's like, when you start to bully people into an apology, it's what you're getting. Because I do understand.
I agree with that, yeah.
This is what's happening. Like, when someone tried to accuse me of defending Louis, I felt like Kevin Hart in that moment, and I realized how...
Short?
Well, you said short? Yeah, I felt like, what is he, 5 feet?
He's like 5'2".
4'8"?
Yeah, I picked him up.
5'2". I'm 5'3", so
Yeah.
yeah. But I did feel like, you know, you could, like we were talking about with R. Kelly, does Kevin have a moment where he self-reflects and goes, you know, actually, maybe I am hurting people and maybe I should look back and be a little embarrassed about what I did. But when someone's going at you, in the moment, it is super fucking hard, man. Because when someone's...
survival instincts come in. I'm not to defend myself because I feel like I'm being attacked right now.
I felt like I was being attacked because I was like, you not only are you saying something that's not true about me and my consciousness and my heart, you're putting me out there to tear me down, obviously. You want to put me out there in some way. It's like you said, survival. But I remembered what I said on the podcast last week about being complicit with R. Kelly and listening to his music. And I said, you know what? Let me see if I can do this. When this person said it to me, let me see if I can actually stop my anger. It took a lot. I had to hold on to a couple of things, you know, before I like really went off in the way I wanted to. And it did help. It was tough, though. And that's the thing that people who are bullying Kevin into apologizing need to realize. Like, just, hey, you're not going to solve this by coming at someone like that. You're going to create someone being extremely defensive. Mm-hmm. It's just I think a lesson in this moment.
I don't want it if it's I got to bully you into it anyway.
Right.
Because I don't feel it's genuine.
Right. That's what I'm saying. He's not going to speak for me.
I wonder, I think there's something to be said for having someone go through the motions of doing the right thing. I think I read an article about when it came to courtroom settlements. Some lawyer said, this is horrible, I don't source anything properly, but a lawyer said that a lot of families would rather have an apology from the perpetrator of the crime than a settlement, than the money. Because the money doesn't give you psychological restitution the way an apology can. However, I completely agree that if it doesn't come across genuine, then it's like, well, what's the whole point?
Yeah.
So, maybe for the victims, because I'm not one of the victims of his homophobic remarks, I can't speak for that. And, I think that you speak for yourself only, but you can say, does it really make a difference if somebody who's done that then says, I shouldn't have done it?
I think in terms of, I'm actually seeing this, I'm seeing, like if I was in a courtroom setting and then having Big Pharma up there that, killed my family and these pills that they knew that could be addictive or whatever. Mm-hmm. And to have one of their 4 COs to say, well, I'm sorry to the family, even though in my mind you're trying to save yourself billions of dollars from this lawsuit, it feels satisfying to me in the sense that I can hold that I can see that, and maybe you'll get to that point. I don't know, for me, Kevin never felt like, even though they were I guess they were trying to force him in some way or to apologize, it just never felt like he was actually trying to go through the motions. Mm-hmm. That how satisfying that could be for somebody if he said it. It was always, I'm being forced to do this, and no, I can't even go through the motions with you. I can't even give you the satisfaction of me saying that I am sorry about it. Which
there's anger in that.
Yeah.
And so that even pushes me further away from that.
Right, because if you feel bad about something that you did that you didn't realize you were doing, like the way it comes off is like, oh, I was joking around about a thing, right? You go, oh shit. Oh, no, you guys, I'm sorry. Oh my God.
Right.
Oh my God. I didn't know that was going to hurt you guys, and I was joking, and it was a different time, and it was just a joke, that I thought I could get away with, but I would never do that again. That's like your reaction when you're like, whoa, I didn't mean to hurt you, not,
why you
I've been apologizing.
I said it.
That's not even in my act now.
It ain't even in my act.
Move on. I
don't say it on stage no more.
That's not part of it.
Jay Farrell there was something on his Instagram where he was impersonating. There was someone in the camera, not Kevin, but it was an actor. And in the background, it sounds like the TV's on with Kevin Hart saying, I'm done with apologizing. I'm done. And it was so well done. It was so funny. And then it was Jay Farrell.
Right. Jay Farrell is so good, it almost feels like a warlock type good. Like, it's like...
It was so good.
Like, where'd you get this power?
Yeah. I was like, who did you
his name Pharaoh.
Who did you sell?
But, okay, I hate saying, like, PC culture, because when people use the expression PC culture, it already sounds like they don't agree with it.
Right.
When I was a kid, PC culture, this would have been my, like, safe haven. I would have loved that if this was how we grew up. No bullies, nobody saying shit, nobody racially, sexually, whatever. But right now, doesn't it start to feel like, and I'm not saying this in a negative way, this whole PC culture of how you're supposed to apologize, how you're supposed to behave, how you're supposed to treat people, it's our new religion. We don't have, everybody's going to church Sunday. But we do have, this is a certain way publicly that you are and are not allowed to behave. Mm-hmm. And everybody's in on it. And everybody puts you to trial. And everybody can go...
Everyone in on it? I'm not sure. Because they applauded Kevin.
Well, I guess not everyone like that. But I just mean, like, there's so many people enforcing our actions and how we behave towards each other these days. It feels like the new version of, like, oppressive Christianity.
Mm. Yeah. No, I agree. I just find it also very headlining. That's what I've been actually wondering. I'm like, is everyone in agreement with the headlines, or is it just these headlines are stirring up emotions with podcasters? You know what I'm saying? Because
right.
like when I'm in front of an audience, I'm finding that less people are sensitive in the audience.
Yeah.
Than
It's not a real thing. These trends, these headline trends of like what we're mad about right now, it feels just like this 10-year picture challenge. People wake up like, I gotta do the 10-year picture challenge. Everybody's doing the 10-year picture challenge.
Like, you don't.
And then people see a headline and go, oh, you got pretty privilege. So now we gotta be mad about people with pretty privilege for a little while. It's like every little new trend. Pancake day. Let's have pancakes today, everybody. Look at my Instagram.
It's like a bandwagon effect.
hot dogs.
What are we sad about? What are we mad about? What are we, like, people move on so quickly. They get upset so quickly. Nobody has, like,
No
so
one's
there
talking
used to
about
be
Chris
just
Rock anymore. 'Cause he
vegans.
said nothing.
About what?
I
The
actually-
N-word.
Yeah.
I actually said that too. I
Good for
said
him.
if he doesn't say anything about
Good
it,
for him.
it's gonna be good.
Other people came to his defense anyway. Like, if you're quiet, other people will just create their own talking points, and like you said.
Do you think Kevin should even be going on this? Does he have to promote his movie? You think he's contracted to promote?
That's right.
Yes,
He's got a
that's
movie.
What it is.
I think that's all it is. That's why I think like.
But why isn't anyone giving him a soundbite to just repeat on every outlet that sounds better? It's like Trump. Why do they let Trump freestyle? Why
It's
doesn't
just like
someone
Trump.
just write something for him and have him say
I
it?
think he's like Trump in
It's
the way
just
that
like
no
Trump.
one
I think
can
he
tell
refuses
him.
to.
I think,
Trump,
yeah.
Kevin Hart,
No one
Kanye.
can. He's
Ooh.
surrounding himself by yes men.
Right.
Uh-oh.
So if somebody told Chris Rock no?
But also too.
His daughters.
I love it. Ooh. Yes. Well, I actually, surprisingly, I was at a party when it was all going down, and Chris Rock was there, and there was I didn't know it was happening. I actually went to the bathroom, and I got this text about it, and I was like, oh, I'm at a party. They go, don't bring it up. I was like, yeah, I'm going to bring it up, but he wasn't fazed by it, I mean, there has to be, you have to be built for this industry now, I think, for Hollywood. You have to be, there's another level of not touching it, like not addressing things because people are overreacting. You give it a week, just like Hot Topics fade, people forget about it. I mean, do you think if Chris Rock were to go on stage in front of, like, let's say a black audience, that it would go over well, or what do you think?
Yeah, it would be fine. They'd be like,
You'd
it's
be
Chris Rock.
excited to see him.
It would
Yeah.
be fine.
Just like people were excited to see Louis when he popped up out of nowhere, and then after the fact, they
Well-
digested it and they said,
Well, not everybody.
yes, there were a
Yeah,
few
yeah,
walkouts
there
for
were.
sure.
But,
But also, I'm sure there was a lot of people that didn't walk out, but weren't happy that he
Yes.
was there. So
Yeah.
There's those two elements of it. So I don't know. I just think we're in a time and place where people have their opinion and they can have their opinion. But I was going to go back to the headline part. I don't trust the headlines either because headlines are crafted to make you get as many people interested in that subject on that article as possible. So they try to do the most salacious things, the most outrageous headlines that you can. Is clickbait for a lot of it. Even if it's like they probably had a lot of great things that happened on Janine Garofalo's podcast she was on, but that one little nugget was going to bring people to listen or bring people
podcast.
to that podcast. And so you can only believe half of what an article, for a headline is actually trying to do.
They're marketing to our feelings, just like entertainment.
Absolutely.
Like, there's so
absolutely
many new witch shows right now because witches are very popular right now. There was a time when alien shows were very popular. It's not as popular right now. It's all witches, right? It's just like that. It's like when they figure out what we're mad about or what we're upset about, they go, okay, so where is this happening in the world? And let's put it out there for everybody to be upset. But what I was going to say about the other thing that you said, like a Chris Rock crowd being upset when they show up, the chances that people even know about it, honestly, we live in this world as comedians. We live in the world of like making sure we check the news, making sure we're social, making sure we know what everybody's feeling and talking about right now. But the chances when you go to a crowd that they even know it happened, it's surprising to me when I go out or when I talk to an audience member and I go, like on Atlanta, they're like, what? Like, they don't know shit in entertainment. Like, people, regular audience members don't know what the fuck is going on in entertainment.
And these old men
They don't
have
care.
not got, I've said it before, I'll say it, these old men out on the streets have not gotten the memo about
Catcalling.
Because
At
I was in the subway and there was this young
Not
girl.
at all.
She was wearing these really like nice leather pants. I was looking too. I'm gonna be honest. I was like, she looks amazing in those. I've seen the leather pants are in style. Not everyone should wear them, and this one should. And she looked amazing. And this guy was coming the opposite. It was a white man, to older white man. He said, "Oh, wow, yeah." And I was like, he's in trouble. He's gonna get locked up. I was like, dude has not gotten the memo at all. So you're right. It's like, that's what you go out in the streets and you just see people are like, I gotta just pay my taxes and
There's a real world versus the world that we're broadcasting to each other.
And also too is our idea that how we were brought up stays with us in so many different ways. So even if you got that memo, that doesn't pertain to you, because say if you're an old white man, no, that's how I make women feel good. You know, you haven't,
yeah.
You interpret it like
that's how I make their day.
that has never been a problem with what I do to women. Maybe some of these other guys are more insulting with it, but I make women feel good every day. Well, that I shout out.
Like for example, and back to the R. Kelly thing, it just always makes me sad when I say his name. But he had a birthday party. The place was, people were there, you know, celebrating. He's still on this. You know, there's still people in Chicago who are like, that's my guy. He represents Chicago. And by the way, not in the news. My sister told me both places were closed.
What places?
That he had his birthday party.
Like people boycotted them
I don't know
and then
if
they had
it's
to
true.
shut down.
Don't quote me on this, but apparently they were closed down after
there was some backlash.
There was some backlash to it. I mean, there's one headline that is working for us,
so
which is the story of R. Kelly.
To have a birthday? They took away his birthday?
Calise Hawkins defense R.
No,
Kelly.
No. Definitely not.
No, so this is the question. He was definitely allowed to have a birthday. Are you going to his, when you get your invitation in the mail for R. Kelly birthday party, are you going?
But shouldn't they do that? Shouldn't they check the email list and attack everybody who was at the party?
Well, they got video.
Who are they attacking, though?
I think birthday.
But I think that's her point, that it was filled.
People even showed up.
People are celebrating his birthday.
Sure.
Yeah, but that's
it's just funny to me that the venue gets shut down afterwards, because like he's
not
gonna stop having birthdays. It's not like he went and performed stand up. He had a birthday. He can't not do it.
But just stay at his house, maybe. But, you know, the Department of Agriculture has denied him a permit to organizers of a concert featuring the R&B singer called Spring Break Jam. And the concert was